Hello! So today I wanted to share my TBR stack for March. I feel confident in making one for the month only because for February I read more than I thought I was going to, and I feel like I can keep up the same momentum for March. Today is Wednesday, February 25th, and I said I just wanted to read at least one book for the month, but I ended up finishing 3, and right now I am in the middle of my 4th book, which I'm pretty sure I can finish before Saturday, which is the end of February. And for that book, it's Leather and Lark by Bryn Weaver. And I think I have less than 90 pages to go for that one. So I did really good for February, better than what I thought. So I feel pretty confident in making this TBR stack for March. So for the month, I have 4 books that I want to try and read, maybe 5, but that one is like a huge maybe. 3 of these authors are new to me, and the other 2 I have read multiple books of already. And the first author and book that I have is An Appetite for Miracles by Lincoln Zaya Kemp. So Lincoln Zaya Kemp is a new to me author, and one of the reasons why I'm really excited to read this book is not only does it sound really interesting, but it is also a novel told in verse. So it looks like a pretty big book. It's about 440 pages, I think, but because it's told in verse, I think I can get through this a little bit faster. And again, the story just sounds really interesting and really intriguing, and I've heard that it talks a lot about like Mexican food. So I feel like just with all of those components together, I'm going to be really excited to read this book. And I feel like it would be a good start to March to read a book in a format that I don't typically read, because I have read a novel in verse once, maybe twice before. I can't remember the numbers. I know I read definitely one book and I really enjoyed reading that one in verse. So I feel like the same will stand for An Appetite for Miracles. This second book that I have is The Umbra King by Jamie Applegate Hunter. I have seen all of their work plastered all over Bookstagram, and when I went to like a bookstore pop-up, I saw this book, and when I saw that it was this specific author, I was like, okay, I feel like this is a sign that I just need to try this author already, because again, I've seen it all over Bookstagram. And it sounds really interesting. It sounds really intriguing. I forget if this is a YA or not. It kind of reads like one. But I mean, either way, I'm just really excited to read this one. So the third book that I have is also a new to me author, and this is actually an ebook that I'm going to read over on Libby, and that is Krampus by Michael Dougherty. I have had this book on my Libby literally since October, because during the month of October on my Bookstagram, I was trying to post a little bit more often for Halloween and stuff, and I was posting books of like, will I survive the horror book and whatever, and I also really like Christmas horror books. So I thought, oh, Krampus would be really perfect to read for the month and to post on my Bookstagram, but I never got to it. I think I just didn't have time, and it's a short book, so I feel like I was thinking like, okay, it's short. I can like read it in between something. I'll read it pretty quickly. I can just reborrow it again from Libby, and then I just kept reborrowing it over and over and over again ever since October 2025. And because it's been so long that I've been borrowing it, I feel like March, it just has to be the month where I read it. Every time I open my Libby app and I see it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to read this book. So Krampus is another book that I want to read in March, and I've been picking what I want to read in a sort of different way than when I was in the past, because I was making like this huge list of like what I wanted to read, and it kind of got overwhelming, and I feel like I wasn't getting through the books on my own shelves fast enough. So I'm changing how I'm picking my TBRs for like the rest of until I change it again, is I am basically picking a book off of every bookshelf that I have. So I'm going to talk about the 4th book next, and it's a book that's coming from this shelf. An Appetite for Miracles came from my other bookshelf. The Umbra King came from my IKEA bookshelf, and then I want to incorporate an ebook from the library or wherever I have my ebook. So I'm picking books out of like the different places that are available to me, just so I can get through the books on my own shelves a little bit faster. But I also still want to read ebooks, hence Krampus by Michael Dougherty. I really like the tale of Krampus. I actually have a book about Krampus that I'm not going to read this month, but because I find it really interesting, I thought it would be really fun to get into as like a Christmas horror kind of thing. So that's why I wanted to read it in October, but I didn't. So here we are in February going all the way into March. I'm finally going to read Krampus, and if I don't, then I don't know, maybe I should just try again come October 2026. The fourth book that I have and want to read for March is an author that I have already read before. I've read 2 of her books so far, so this will be the third, and that is Hatchet Girls by Diana Rodriguez Wallach. And what I really love about this copy is I actually went to like a Zoom meetup with her, I think back in 2023 or so, and I ordered it from a bookstore in her city of Philadelphia, and I got it autographed. So that's a pretty cool component of this one. As I said, I really love her work. I've read and loved Small Town Monsters. I recently read The Silenced. I don't have a physical copy yet, but I did have it as an ARC. I read The Silenced and I really loved it. But I've had this book since I think October 2023, and it's literally on my favorites shelf. So this shelf that you see here, well, you can kind of see up here. These are all of like my absolute favorite books out of everything that I have. And this book is on that shelf. I put it there because, as I mentioned, I read and loved Small Town Monsters. So when I bought this, I put it on the shelf because I was like, yeah, I'm gonna love it. It's Diana Rodriguez Wallach. It's going to be good. But since I bought it, I still have not read it. I read The Silenced and I was right. I absolutely loved The Silenced. So I'm right that I'm going to love anything that she writes. So that's why I put it on this shelf. But I still haven't read this one. And this book is the only book on this specific shelf that I haven't read. So I feel like it's time. I just need to read this book already, and it would be really satisfying for me to look at this shelf and be like, yes, I have read everything that is on this bookshelf, but Hatchet Girls is one that I haven't read, so I just need to get to it for March. It's based off the story of Lizzie Borden and the axe murders that she may or may not have committed. So that's a story I find really interesting, and I'm really excited to see the spin that Diana Rodriguez Wallach puts on it. And something that I've mentioned before about her books is I really love her writing because she puts so much research into it, and she even includes all of like the sources that she used when she writes her books. So in the back here, as the same with, I'm pretty sure, The Silenced and Small Town Monsters, she puts all of the sources that she used for her research. So I'm just really excited to see the kind of spin she puts on Lizzie Borden and to see like what articles and other sources that she used to write this book. So those were all the 4 books that I definitely want to read in March. And if everything works out in my favor and I'm able to finish all 4 before the end of March and I'm able to pick up a 5th book, I want to read Scythe and Sparrow by Bryn Weaver. I'm actually not sure how to say that word. Scythe. I tried to look up YouTube videos and I feel like every video that I searched, someone said it different each time. So I'm just gonna say, oh, I forgot how I said it already. Scythe? I'm gonna say Scythe. So as I mentioned, I'm reading Leather and Lark by Bryn Weaver. I'm almost done with it. I know I can finish it by Saturday, hopefully. So I think I want to read this in March. I usually like to let some time go in between reading a series because I feel like if I stick to a series back to back to back, I found that I get a headache, and I found that that happened with a book series that I actually really enjoy. I really enjoy that series, but I read the first book in that series, read a different book, but I ended up DNFing it. So then I just went to like the second book in that series, and I had a headache like the whole time, and I couldn't explain to you why. I loved what was going on. I loved the characters. I was excited to continue the series, but the whole time I just had a headache. I didn't have a headache with the book that I DNF'd, even though I DNF'd it, and I didn't have a headache with the book that I read after the second book in the series. So since then, I kind of just know that I need some time in between a book series to kind of just decompress and to absorb new things. So if I get to a 5th book in March, I think enough time will have passed for me to read Scythe and Sparrow. If not, that's fine. I think I'm just gonna read this for the start of April, but I feel like it should be fine. So if I get to a 5th book, Scythe and Sparrow is gonna be the next book for March. And what I really love about my Ruinous Love trilogy books, this is kind of a tangent, it's not related to my TBR at all, but I met Bryn Weaver back in August 2025 in Boston. And when she was there, she had all of her books and she had these really cool sleeves that go with them. And what I really love about these sleeves is they're reversible. So this is a side that I love to have facing out because I think it's so pretty. And then when it's turned the other way, but I'm not going to do it all the way, it's this other cover here. So that's really cool, and I absolutely love looking at this stack on my bookshelves every time I walk into the room. And whenever I read Leather and Lark, I do take it out of like the cover sleeve because I don't want to mess it up. And it's going to be the same when I read Scythe and Sparrow. But again, that was totally unrelated. I just wanted to show the cover for the Ruinous Love trilogy books. So that is actually all of my March TBR. Again, to reiterate, if I can just read one book for March, totally fine. A little disappointing, but if I read one book, it's reading nonetheless, and I should be happy. But I'm really excited to possibly read all of the books that I showed today. I think the one I'm most excited for is probably Hatchet Girls, only because I've had it on my shelf for the longest time and I haven't read it, and it's on my favorites shelf even though I haven't read it. But I'm excited to read all of them. They're going to be exciting for different reasons as they're all different genres. And I feel like March is going to be a fun month considering I read more in February. January was a pretty good month. And March, I feel like, is really going to be a test of my reading momentum as I had in February. So that is it for me. I would like to know what you're going to read for March, or if you have a favorite book that you read in February. Thank you for letting me show all the books that I want to possibly read in March, and for letting me show the cover for the Ruinous Love trilogy. Thank you so much, and I hope that I see you next time.